Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome back to the Aztec Overexplained game, where it has been a couple of days since I've played, so I actually don't remember anything about this game. I'm a bit like Gandalf in the Mines of Moria. I have no memory of this place. However, I do remember how to play the game, so we could pick it back up from where we left off and hopefully make good decisions. I know it might sound tautological, but generally speaking, you want to make good decisions and not bad decisions. That is pro tip number 1 for this episode. Now, we have unlocked diplomatic service and mercantilism. We could go for the Enlightenment. There's nothing really here that blows my socks off, except maybe liberalism. However, I guess most of my core cities would benefit from the amenities here. If we go and check the city screen, we can kind of see the happiness status, and a lot of our cities are doing okay on amenities. Like, we're content. So maybe a few extra amenities here would give me a little bit of extra room to continue to expand, because I am going for a lot of stuff here. But the problem is, where do I plug the card in? I'm still doing colonization. I'm still doing serfdom. These things need to be continued. It looks like I am missing a couple of my mods here. There we go. Now this looks a little bit more familiar. Natural philosophy would be nice to plug in, but the problem is I'm getting too much value from serfdom and colonization. So as much as I would love to do that, I don't think I can. Let's go ahead and chop out this monument. Perfect. That'll allow the city to continue to expand its borders. I can go ahead and get some tile improvements down here as well. Speaking of campuses, I guess I do want to drop a commercial hub in the city. Would I like to drop the commercial hub first or the campus first? Oh man, that feels bad, because the best tile to put the campus technically is here, because it would give me +1 adjacency on both my campus and my commercial hub. But if I put it here, it's a little bit less good, but I get to keep this really good copper mine, and there's not a huge amount of production tiles around, so I think I will put it on there. Let's go ahead and place the campus again, locking in the price, and then we'll place the commercial hub again, locking in that price. And we will go commercial hub first. But this city does need a granary because it's at a 4 out of 5 population limit, and it could use that. I'll also get the watermill, purely because 1 food, 1 production seems like a reasonable thing to do to get the city to pop off. So like I was talking about, we could pick up Enlightenment if we wanted to get extra amenities, but I don't think I really have a use for those right now. I could instead pick up colonialism, and maybe colonial taxes could be useful here this game. 25% gold and 10% production on cities not on my original capital continent. That would affect 1, 2, 3 cities, and then potentially another 1, 2, 3 cities. It could affect a rather large portion of my empire. So I think, with that said, I will go ahead and head for colonialism, plus an extra 2 envoys. Cannot be sniffed at. And I do think I'm going to have to use like a little bit of my gold now to start buying tiles. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and place a very, very powerful campus in this city. Very, very happy with that +4 campus. I do need to place another district. I hate the idea of placing a campus in here, but I do have a 1, 2, 3 potential like commercial hub over here at some point, so maybe we'll do that. Actually, you know what? The commercial hub will go there because it'll provide extra adjacency. No, it won't actually. Oh, yeah, it's hard to know. I guess I'll just wait and Tlacopan before I place more stuff. So this is going to be a campus. I will harvest this because it is worth 200 gold, which does not seem too bad. Where do I have Magnus established, by the way? I've kind of forgotten this. Do I even have Magnus? I never got Magnus this game. Okay, that makes sense. So I think my current goal is to just kind of execute the plan that we've laid out, is get these 2 cities down, potentially plan out some more. There we go. We got +3 era score from building an industrial zone with a really, really high adjacency. And that was in the city of Malinalco. Now I am kind of heading towards industrialization, so I would like to build 2 workshops. Now workshops do take a while to build, so I might want to tech away from that for now, because I have another industrial zone coming down in Aztec Overexplained, and I think I will continue to start trading internationally. This gold, culture, and faith is starting to become more and more important for my empire, rather than just the raw, internal trade route yields. I need to get another spy built. I need to find a city where that makes sense to do. So the Cree did settle on this rather large river, but they left plenty of room for me to continue to settle on this continent. And once these 2 cities are down, I'm going to start planning more and more settles over here. So Huexotla built a settler. 14 turns feels kind of slow, but it also seems kind of okay. Maybe 1 more settler from the city is enough, and I can instead get the watermill, finish my commercial hub, go for the watermill, and then get a market in here. I think I need to place another district, and so I'm thinking about what my 3rd district in the city is. In a few of my cities, the 3rd district has been a industrial zone. I'm wondering if another industrial zone down here makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nah, it would be out of range. An entertainment complex. Well, no, I have an entertainment complex coming up. I guess a theater square for a little bit of culture could be okay. So I'll go ahead and place the theater square. That's going to be a long-term goal for me. My main priority here is to focus on getting mines up, as many mines up as possible, get it a whole wave of settlers. And the reason we want to focus on mines is because the return on investment for building a mine, like a mine for a builder charge right now, just gives me so many yields. Beautiful. We have our spy having established themselves inside Korea, and now we can begin to go ahead and steal gold at a very high success rate. 84% success rate is good enough. And distributing these fresh trade routes to newly settled cities is the thing that I want to do, because it's essentially like, again, it's like adding another citizen to these cities. It speeds up their production. It generates me gold on a large scale. It just helps out my empire in basically every metric. Texcoco is kind of a bad city for just producing anything meaningful. I guess I will continue to make traders in here. Basically like the lowest effort investment thing that I can get from it. But you know, with the amount of luxuries that I'm going to have access to, and the fact that I would have a Spear of Fionn bonus from the Giant's Causeway, I think my units are like near invincible, like legitimately. I don't think anyone would really be able to do anything to me. One trick with the Trade Policy World Congress is to just like put 2 to 3 votes on yourself, or somebody who has like really good relations. And a way to tell who has really good relations is to check out the Global Relations tab. This is a Sucretact mod. It's called Sucretact Global Relations. It kind of gives you an idea of who has like the best good colors connecting with their players. So for example, like Cree is a very well connected player. See, there's very few red lines going to or from the Cree, and it's kind of the same for the Congo. Whereas Poland, all very orange here, so not having a great time. And same for Simon Bolivar, and pretty much everyone in the game, with the exception of me and Cree, have bad lines. I think my status in the game is slightly better than anyone else's, so I will go ahead and give myself like 3 votes, plus I think I'm trading with a few people are trading with me. In terms of this, if you're not doing a timing push, I find the best thing to put points into here is ranged. I'll usually vote like, I'll just put like 3 votes into ranged. I don't really care about these outcomes. Ranged is just a good pick. Sometimes the AI will go with heavy cavalry or melee. But ranged is usually a safe thing to put a few points into, because the AI will favor ranged, because they tend to have a lot of ranged units and they don't tend to vote heavily in here. So if you just pop like 2 to 3 votes in, you'll get that passed. Now the AI does tend to vote pretty heavily into the Trade Policy tab, typically voting for themselves or one of their friends. And you can see here, Babylon actually voted for Mavemba, but Mavemba voted for Babylon, and he voted so heavily for Babylon that he ended up picking it up. And I'm surprised, like we were 1 vote. I should have gone up to 4 votes and we would have won, because, or 5 votes and we would have won this, because Cree actually voted heavily for me. So I actually should have predicted that Cree was going to vote for me, and I should have invested more heavily into this. I would have won this and I would have got an extra trade route, which would have been pretty nice. So I think I don't know if it's worth it to wait on researching industrialization, but I am going to research siege tactics and military science before I research it, because I'm trying to get extra science efficiently here. And I also need to build an armory, which kind of needs to happen in Guangzhou. You know what? I might just purchase this armory to get the boost, because that gives me another tech to research. I can get gunpowder, which will give my quarry improvements a boost. I can get siege tactics, metal casting, and get all these boosted techs while I wait for my second workshop over here to finish. I think there is something to be said about putting another settlement over here in this tundra. It's relatively high quality tundra, and it does have 2 camps, which kind of lines up with my current status in the game. So I'm tempted to put a city like here, or maybe 1 tile in, I guess. Continuing to trade with La Venta. Again, these are land trade routes and they haven't fully kicked in. They will get stronger over time, I'm pretty sure, as the roads get improved. Right now, these are just like, I don't even remember what era of road these are. Yeah, these are industrial roads. I think it takes a bit of time for that bonus to kick in. Poland, buying my camps, or my elephants rather. It seems like a reasonable thing. Just take, you know, if they're going to give you a trade deal, take it sometimes. I mean, I have so many elephants and nobody really wants to buy them that it doesn't matter. Also, if you're using the quick deals mod, it can be a good idea to buy your own luxuries like jade and stuff like that. I kind of don't need them because I'm sitting pretty good on amenities right now. I'm not like overwhelmingly good on amenities, but I'm in an okay place. Now I got my builder in Teotihuacan, and this was where I wanted to build a couple of lumber mills to improve the city's production, because its production was pretty low. The city is capped on growth and it has a lot that it needs to build. I think, as much as I'd like universities, let's have a look at how we stand in the tech game. I mean, I'm ahead technologically, but how much more important is it for me to continue to get ahead technologically? I think because we're heading towards colonialism and we're soon going to be unlocking zoos here, I'm going to go ahead and actually get to work on the entertainment complex so I can get to zoo to give myself extra amenities, because AoE amenities are very, very powerful. Think of entertainment complexes and industrial zones are kind of like really, really good complements to having a really, really big empire, especially if you can get them to hit a lot of cities, because they'll give you a lot of like AoE value. So those are kind of my bias as a player. Let's go ahead and settle this city right here. We get a builder out, and then we can go ahead and start moving up here and getting prepared. So again, usual sort of stuff: monument, granary, watermill in some order. I usually go like monument, watermill, but I'll go monument, granary, watermill. I need the borders to expand. I need the housing room. Actually, you know what? I think granary, monument, watermill makes the most sense here. Yeah, I think so. We found another city-state. Beautiful. Cardiff, not the most useful one. I will take suzerainty of Mexico here, actually. And the reason I'm taking suzerainty of Mexico is because this will actually add an extra 3 range to my industrial zones and my entertainment complexes, which is huge, by the way. I didn't even realize Mexico was in the game. So now this industrial is like how do I even check this with the city overlap? Yeah, so now if I set the city overlap to 9, usually it's 6. So you can see here with 6, these kind of like light blue teal tiles, they hit 6 cities. If I put this up to a range of 9, which when I'm suzerain of Mexico, that's what they hit, this industrial zone is going to hit 10 cities. That's absurd. Genuinely absurd. Like this industrial zone down here is only hitting 3 cities. That's nutty. So actually finding Mexico here was a huge deal for me. I say finding Mexico, remembering that Mexico was in the game was probably a more appropriate way to phrase that. All right, nice. There's gunpowder. We have improved quarries, and we got another settler. This settler is going to head south over this way, and we're going to go ahead and settle this settler here. This is going to be one of the only harbors in the entire game that I built. It will take a very, very long time to build, but it does have 2 really, really good fishing tiles that will give me really, really good tempo in the city for growth and production, especially once I get colonialism for the +1 production on those. Chalco has its watermill. Let's go ahead and place its campus. And we want the city, now that it has the ability to grow its borders with a monument and the ability to work tiles with its population, we want it to continue to grow. So we'll get a granary. And it'll grow into these really, really nice tiles. And then we'll probably want to get some builder charges over here. And then we'll go ahead and get to work on a commercial hub. I reckon getting the market before the campus is the right play here. Another trade route capacity seems like it would be useful. Looking at the city of Sempoala, I'm not really missing much in terms of what I could be building here. We have a relatively good city. It has the potential to place 1, 2, 3. It could place another district soon if I were to get another housing in here. I could go for the archaeological museum. We will soon unlock archaeologists, which would give me a significant culture boost. I don't think art museums here make sense. At 19 turns on a settler is just like a little bit too long for it's a little bit too rich for my blood. I think I'm going to go ahead and get this city to help me build traders, because I'm not at my trade route capacity yet. And getting those traders online is just critical. It's critical empire-wide infrastructure. And then maybe we'll think about a spy or something like that. Drop a very nice camp in the city of Ixtapaluca. Look at that. 4 food, 3 production. That's exactly what you want to be seeing. Now, I will definitely admit here, there's like a diminishing return on the amount of cities we settle. Like at a certain point, we could actually just win this game, like by switching into any of the victory conditions that we desire, where we have an empire just this huge. But I wanted to do, I just wanted to illustrate or be illustrative for what can be done here. Looks like Simon Bolivar is asking for an aid request. These are almost always worth voting up because the AI tends to favor wasting their production on them really highly, which is a way for you to hurt the AI because they'll waste all their production on them. And then at the very last second, you could just like steal a bunch of gold or trade for a bunch of gold and then win the aid request and steal the 2 diplomatic victory points. So that's kind of like what I like to do with these sometimes. Speaking of things, it's good to get resident embassies with people if they have a neutral or better relationship with you. I generally recommend just doing it. It'll improve your relations with them. So resident embassy with everyone who is able to. And then I think I want to renew my alliance with the Cree. I think I will renew a military alliance with the Cree. I think it's the best alliance to get with the Cree, in my opinion. The Crees, because you share vision. It gives me so much more information about the map. I don't think I'm going to go ahead and build an archaeological museum this game, at least not before I pick up this tech, right? I guess in theory, I could pick up a civil engineering. It would give me a better builder card. So I guess I will do that. And then maybe in Sempoala, I could actually build the archaeological museum. Like, it's not a terrible choice. Although this city, I really want to be building builders out of it. This is my Liang city. And it is important for me to emphasize here, I'm playing what I call like a super wide style. A super wide style is where you have a city dedicated essentially to building settlers and another city dedicated to building builders. And then every other city is kind of like, you just try to get their own infrastructure up, right? And it's a very efficient style, but only really works against the AI. Another player could very easily just roll me with a timing attack. Because like, look how huge my empire is. It's undefendable. Like Korea has like a little bit of it, has had a tech lead at various times throughout this game. This is a very, very slow build, but it's a very explosive build. It's a style that is characterized by having a very lumbering inevitability to it. I will eventually become just so powerful that I can't be stopped. But it does mean that two of my most powerful cities never really do anything except for making my empire bigger and better. And so they never really come into their own as cities. Like, they're good cities, don't get me wrong. They're just never what they should be. I'm going to go ahead and buy the Chancery because I want those 3 influence points per turn. That's going to be super helpful. I don't think I continue to settle to the south. I think all of these settlers are going to head to the west and north. What do I want to do in the city of Guangzhou? I could get my culture up, and I could use another little chunk of culture, I think, this game. So I will kind of just push that very gently. And this is why it's still viable to settle new cities in the late game, because like if I had settled this city really, really early into the game, like think of how low quality these tiles would have been improved. Like this would have been like a 1-2 tile. This would have been like a 2-1-1 tile, like a 2-1-3 tile. But now like they're really, really powerful. And I actually can build things with like a little bit of alacrity. Anywhere you're going to put a district, just it's a free chop. Boom. It speeds up your tempo of your city. It's going to die anyway. You know, you use a builder charge for it. So there you go. Looks like we have a great person up for grabs. It's Piero de Bardi. Not a very good great person, if I'll be totally like frank with you, but I will grab him. Like Jakob Fugger is just better. Okay. Sorry. That name, I don't think I remember that guy's name, but it got me. It got me. Yeah, I'll take the 200 gold and a free envoy. Is there anybody I want to get control of? Honestly, Anshan is fine. And actually, speaking of Anshan, did I ever remember, can I get control of Anshan? Anshan would be a hard fight for me. Maybe I don't fight for Anshan. I definitely would like to keep control of Kumasi. Kumasi is like a powerful one, so I'll keep my friendship there going. I guess theoretically I could put a point into all the city-states I don't currently have a point into. Let's have a look at our quests here. This is the Envoy Quest mod. It allows you to organize things a little bit easier. So they want me to trigger an inspiration for Reformed Church. You know what that tells me? That tells me I need to research Reformed Church to get these missions to refresh. A Great Rider, send a trade route, line infantry, or build a holy site. A lot of these aren't things that I plan on doing. I guess I could theoretically build a holy site. I mean, all the religions are gone, but a holy site does generate like a tiny bit of faith. Maybe there's some value there. Who knows? So claiming this river is probably of utmost importance to me. I think based on this, I want to settle on one of these 2 tiles in here too, and maybe I'll settle slightly to the right to avoid blocking too many river tiles. That way I don't block too heavily here. Maybe it would be nice to settle on the north side of this river, then 1, 2, 3. That kind of naturally demarcates this bottom half of the river maybe into like 2 different cities. Actually, 2, 3. These 2 cities in conjunction with each other mean there's only 1 spot left really for a city over here. And I guess the reasonable thing to do is to just go right here and get like the greatest campus that I can. And I think that is these 3 cities. And this is actually an important thing, is later on in the game, it's actually okay to kind of space your cities out a little bit. You don't need to pack them so tightly, in particular against the AI. Early game, you want to cluster them, but later on in the game, it's okay to have like a good spacing between them. It's not optimal, but like, here's the thing, settlers are expensive. And like, if I can just efficiently get control of the land, like, I mean, mission accomplished, you know? That's like my general rule of thumb. Like, older cities will be tightly packed together. Later on, you know, when there's still land available, the cities will be kind of far apart and neatly spaced. So let us do a little bit of prepping here. I'm going to go ahead and harvest out a watermill and a monument by harvesting this right here, and that'll get me there. And then I'm going to go ahead and place the campus that I have planned, cancel it. And so now we've locked in a lot of the prices here, and development is continuing. Speaking of placing districts, I'll do the same over here. You don't have to place the district. Remember, placing your districts that you plan to build later saves you production in the long run, because these districts now, their production cost is locked in. And I don't mind spending a little bit of money here to get access to better tiles. Like, maybe buying 1 or 2 tiles in your cities is like fine. I actually, you know what I wish I had? I wish I had, not nationalism, I wish I had Scorched Earth here. 20% plot purchasing discount with the settler production card would be really, really nice for developing my empire quickly. Our first workshop in Malinalco is finished. Now, what could I do in the city to make a difference in my empire? I mean, honestly, Angkor Wat is like unironically a really, really good build here for me. Because I have such a huge empire, +1 population and +1 housing in all cities. That's a huge amount of science, culture, gold, extra stuff that we can work. Seems pretty valuable to me here. And I can get started now on industrialization because I'm 2 turns from finishing this workshop down here. On the other hand, like science kind of is my win condition, so I could pick up a university. I'm kind of tempted by the Angkor Wat though, just because of like the huge scaling that it offers my empire. So I'll get to work on that. Take about 21 turns. Let's go ahead and harvest here to finish the monument and granary, and then I can also take this time to place the campus that I intend to build. This is just, again, it's just like important to do your gameplay like this. Be clean and be precise in your movements. Now this city has the growth and production to actually make districts in a reasonable amount of time. And that's just really how you have to be playing. Is a very precise, methodical, careful way of playing. Look for your production tiles. Chop out things that you can chop out. I may have to actually show you guys the locust play, where basically what you do is you spawn on the map and you settle for chops. And you just chop out settlers and you become the world locust. It's a very interesting and fun way to play. We got our entertainment complex in Teotihuacan. And I think, now I have an entertainment complex over here, and then I think I have another one. Hold on, let me look these up. Sometimes if you don't remember where you placed things, go ahead and click on this little map search, type in what you want to search. Then you can kind of zoom out and it'll highlight your choices, right? It'll highlight where these things are. And so at a range of 9, this entertainment complex should hit what looks like 8 cities, which is pretty darn good. So let's get to work on the Thlachli. Also, I need like an injection of gold, so I'm going to go ahead and sell a bunch of luxuries to the AI for as much upfront gold as I can get, so that I can come in here and buy an archaeological museum to get the boost for natural history. Buy the archaeological museum, so after civil engineering, I will get natural history, and this will allow me to get the zoo, which will give me a ton of extra amenities. Now, looks like my spy was caught. He did make the steal, and he was captured. So, unfortunate thing is sometimes your spies will get captured. Against an AI player, it's always worth it to buy them back, because even if your spy like makes 1 steal over the course of the game, he like usually pays for what this is. She's not willing to give me it because she's denounced me. But that's unfortunate. That spy is locked up in her borders for the foreseeable future. It would be kind of fun, in my opinion, if you had a mission to neutralize asset. Like you could send your own spies in to kill your own spy in someone else's territory so that you could free up that spy slot. I think that would be kind of a, I don't know, fun, thematic, kind of Cold War-y type play. Now, if I were to take a look at this city of Zilitlalep, there's not actually a whole lot of really good tiles for me to improve. Like harvesting this marsh would be nice to give the city a huge population boost. But I think the best thing to do here is to send this builder off somewhere else to help another city. And then later on in the game, come back with a builder to sort that out. Because I don't want to spend the gold on expanding the borders. Babylon wants a cultural alliance. I'm going to take an alliance because basically if I take an alliance, it's somebody can't declare war on me, is my logic here. So everyone I have an alliance with is someone I can't have declare war on me. There's the boost for industrialization. We have our 2 workshops. And if we take a look at the city of Aztepalco, like if we really take a critical look at it, there's a lot of tiles that aren't being improved here. So I could theoretically look into chopping out a wonder or something here, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 forests in here that I could chop for value if I so choose. I don't need a watermill. I don't need a bank right now. I mean, the bank would be nice because the extra gold. Maybe I would be better off building traders. Maybe I'd be better off building spies. I think I could use a second spy. This is a good city for spy production. And this factory isn't super important, and there's not a wonder here that really screams to me that I need to build it immediately. I mean, theoretically, you could say I could go for St. Basil's Cathedral, but that's also quite a few turns away. I am continuing to trade pretty heavily with Leventa, and you know, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a totally reasonable, perfectly fine thing to do. Boom, another tundra settle. Feeling good about this. Camps to improve. Again, we want our borders to expand, and we just want the culture. So monument, watermill, granary, get the city pumping early stuff. Now, there is the potential here for the Dark Age, so that's something we do need to keep in mind, and I'm kind of okay going into a Dark Age here. The potential of my empire is so high that, like, if I go into a Dark Age, like, who cares, in all honesty? But obviously that wouldn't be ideal. Obviously that wouldn't be ideal. We got a commercial hub done over here. We'll go ahead and place our campus like that. Perfect. We'll get to work on the market again. Trade routes are life. Trade routes are love. The amount of gold I'm pulling in from my trade routes, the amount of production I'm pulling in from my trade routes, the amount of food I'm pulling in from my trade routes are carrying me. So I have 1, 2, and then 3 settlers heading north to settle these 3 cities. The era is ending in 10 turns, so I think that'll be the last cities that I settle over here. And then my focus will be on claiming as much of this land over here as well, because there's actually really good camps and stuff. Like, genuinely, I'm not joking. Don't be afraid to build an empire that's like stupidly huge. Like, just actually like, no, like this empire, like it is completely unnecessary for me to make an empire this big, but I find it really satisfying to manage a huge empire. because it gives me an interesting decision every turn. I have plenty of room for optimization. We go ahead and plug in the public works card that we just unlocked. And we're also going to plug in retainers. And I think part of what I'm going to do with retainers here. Now, retainers is a good card because it gives you +1 amenity per cities with a garrisoned unit. So what I'm going to do here is try to remember when retainers goes obsolete. So retainers actually came into play back here in civil service, and I just completely forgot about it. And it goes obsolete at mass media. But even so, what I should have done is bought a scout for every single city in my empire for those amenities. It's a bit late now, so I'm not going to do that. Well, I guess, you know what? I still think it could be worth it. I have unlocked skirmishers is the problem. Yeah, I should have done it before I unlocked machinery. It happens, so I think I'm going to skip optimizing for retainers here. I got my amphitheater in Guangzhou. Theoretically, this city could use a builder. Like, there are a couple of improvable tiles here. In terms of governor titles, I'm pretty happy with the spread of my governor titles. You could maybe make an argument for picking up Magnus here, and Magnus might be useful for some of the new settled cities that I plan on dropping. There are like a few bit of harvesting going on, but more likely I'm just going to pick up Magnus and then not really use him too much. Some governors, it's just efficient to put 1 point into, and a lot of people get angry when I don't place my governors. It's like, where do I put him that does anything? If I have nowhere to put him that like has an impact on the game, then there's no point in placing him. It's like a pointless action. Your actions should have purpose. You should move in a purposeful way. Now, I could trade with my ally here, or I could trade with Mexico. I think trading with my ally represents slightly more value for me, and I do want to keep that ally going. There's industrialization. Industrialization is a really important technology for a variety of reasons. It gives you +1 production to all of your mine improvements, and the mine is the most basic production improvement in the entire game. If I go look at some of these mines now, you can see oh god, I don't remember. Like, here it is, 2 and 4 or a 1-5 tile. So now my mines are extremely efficient in terms of production. So my empire-wide production has just jumped like a significant amount. The other important things about industrialization is unlocking the coal resource, and we do in fact have a source of coal underneath one of these districts here. I think it might be my theater square. Yep, if you hover over it, it says Grassland Hills, owner Aztec, and then coal. So there is coal underneath this district. So we do have access to coal. So coal power is not ignorable here. The other important things about this industrialization is we get access to the factory. And the factory is an important production building because its production bonus is extended to all city centers within 6 tiles that do not already have a bonus from this type of building. It gives you 3 production and then another 3 production when powered. So what that means is if you build a factory, it will give 3 production to every city within 6 tiles of this industrial zone. Now, technically it's 9 tiles for me because I have Mexico over here working away for me. And to put this industrial zone in perspective, the color that it matches up is 10. So this is worth 30 production. This building is worth 30 production to me right here if I build the factory in the city. And so, of course, naturally, I will be purchasing the factory in here basically the second that I can. And that'll be 2 or 3 turns away from now. Unless I can maybe sell something. If I can maybe sell something for a little bit of gold right away. And I can, and I will. And then that should allow me to refresh this city and purchase the factory. So again, I want you to just really think about this. This factory is giving me massive amounts of production. And the other important thing is, if I were to build a coal power plant in this city, that will power the factory and give it another 3 production to all of the local cities, which means that is a 60 production building. So this coal power plant actually here represents a huge increase in value too. So I'm going to want to purchase that as soon as possible. The productivity of my empire has just increased. It's hard to even really explain it, but my empire is now like a thrashing, thriving, industrialized heartland. Now, we are heading into the industrial era here soon, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time cleaning up Renaissance era tech and then kind of delay and only research boosted industrial era techs, because once this 8 turns is finished up, industrial era technologies will actually become quite a bit more cheap, again, because technologies further along in the tech tree that you're not in an era of actually get more expensive, right? The base cost is at 1,370, whereas the current cost is 1,644. So the price of technologies are going to come down here in a few turns. And that's like one of the catch-up mechanics that's built into the game. It's not, I don't think it's the most effective catch-up mechanic like in human history, but it's an okay one. It does an okay job at what it's trying to do. Oh, I accidentally reactivated my colorized historic moments mod, but I did just pick up my unique building. Probably should have delayed that because I'm about to go into a next era. I could look for a normal age here. I think I would prefer to get a normal age. So if I have a little bit of a look at the era tracker here, and I have a look at what I have not done yet, I haven't used any of my strategic resources really. I could spend niter, I could spend horses. That would get me an extra 2 era score. I could combine 2 units together to get a core. I think I will do the 2 units combining thing because that's a relatively free one. Oh, I don't have nationalism. Oops, I thought I had nationalism. I guess I can't do that one. So that's a wrap on that one. Yeah, I'm missing some splendids. I think what I could do is building a power plant would give me 3, and that would basically seal me in for an era thing. So let's see if I can sell a bit of Diplo favor. Anyone got any money? A little bit from you, a little bit from you. So now I have 1,500. I can come in here and then go ahead and purchase the coal power plant. And the next turn, I should use the coal I have in store, which should give me 3 era score. And then from there, it's like easy. Are there any repeatables that I could do actually? But look at that, 6 culture from trading with Leventa and 9 gold with 2 food, 2 production and 3 faith. I think I may go... I'm not sure if I'm going to go communism or democracy this game. I think both are relatively valid choices. At least when it comes to my current game situation. I'll talk a little bit more about why I choose which direction when we actually come to that decision. Guangzhou managed to grab a builder, which is what I wanted from it. I think I could justify getting a military engineer here. I don't think there's a whole lot of flooding going to happen this game. I don't think a lakes map actually has flooding. Let me double check. There is flooding on lakes. So it is something I do need to look out for. So I do need to be careful about the amount of CO2 that I emit. I think it would be nice to get my culture up. So I'm going to go ahead and get an archaeological museum in Guangzhou and then go ahead and get an archaeologist as well. There we go. +3 era score from building a power plant, being the first person to consume power. The only thing I think I'm missing is maybe getting a horse unit. So can I quickly purchase a courser? Yeah, let's grab ourselves a quick courser. And there's that +1 era score. We have secured a normal age. Not a golden age. I don't mind not getting a golden age here, but I think I would like a normal age. I don't want to like play around with negative loyalty and stuff like that. The Cree is continuing to settle aggressively. Well, I'll have to give up the dream on that city, which is fine because he's going to settle it, but I will get at least these 2 cities. I should use my faith here for a monumentality bonus. I guess I don't really have one that I can take advantage of. I mean, I guess I could faith purchase a trader down here. Also, I kind of forgot to place my districts in this city, so we'll get that done now. So now our goal is, our settlers are so expensive at this point, what we want to look for is the highest quality cities that we can get. Like, and I'm talking like cities that block all of the land up, like prevent other people from settling it, but also just like get really, really high yields really fast. So like, here's a good city around all these camps. It eats up a bunch of terrain. There's a kind of a similar city over here in between these 2 gypsum. It has a good campus, a relatively cooperative commercial hub. I think I'll settle another 2 cities over here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 cities planned in the wilderness. And we'll continue to expand to the west with these as time goes on. You know, I'm kind of tempted. To do a tank push on Korea. The problem is that it would require me to actually get oil. And I don't know if I will get oil this game. Yeah, maybe if I was playing with the Better Balanced Game mod, I would do a tank push. But I think without the Better Balanced Game mod that like makes oil much more reliable, I think we will have to like just deal with going for a relatively tame game here. It is kind of sad that I don't get to show off like the Aztecs' true power on a militaristic side of things. But like just because you're playing a Civ with like good strong military bonuses doesn't mean you have to go militaristic. You can Sim City on anyone. Where is the settler going? I mean, the Cree is just actually like their main objective here seems to be to mess up my game plan. I can't say that I hate the hustle, but I can say that I hate the method. But I'm a big fan of these cities starting with 4 population. It makes my life so much easier. I'm sitting on 9 envoys, which is probably too many. Let's go ahead and take out Charismatic Leader and plug in the Diplomatic League card. Then we will go ahead and put 1 point into every city-state that we don't currently have a point in, which will just be a very efficient expansion of our envoys. I'm not going to take suzerainty of anybody just yet. I'm going to wait until this era is over, and then I might take some suzerainties because I don't want to. I want to basically. You never want to waste era score by like overshooting your objective. But yeah, we have access to military science now, which means line infantry is on the cards. I could upgrade a unit to line infantry. It might be good to get railroads up. If I wanted to do some sort of military operations. It's also just worth some era score next era. Research labs also theoretically could be a good move. You know, here, let's just do like the. Do I want to go to war this game, or am I playing a passive science game? Because like we could try doing a tank push. You know, I think it'll be interesting. I think for the sake of showing off a tank push, I think we will do that. So I'm ahead basically in most metrics compared to everyone in the game, which means I can set the tempo for a late game war. And if I decide that if I hit enough oil and I decide to do a tank push, it'll be an extremely effective tank push. We got our spy down here. I'm going to go ahead and put that into Korea preemptively. Sadly, I don't have a leveled up spy for this. We're on industrial era great generals. I do need an industrial era great general. Come over to Guangzhou. and start doing encampment trainings so we could maybe get an industrial era great general. Get ourselves set up for this. I'm going to go ahead and build an encampment in my capital after this settler so I can get more great general points. I'll build an encampment in Tejo. So I'm getting set up now, and this is kind of how you do the setup. Is you start getting, you basically, as you are getting ready for a potential war, you drop encampments. So that's kind of like, campuses is kind of like, if you imagine like mobilization is, getting your armies ready for war. Building encampments is essentially mobilization. Like that's you getting ready for the push here. I can grab another great merchant, and I will. Giovanni de Medici is the next one. This guy's not too bad. I mean, he gives you, again, 200 gold and 2 envoys. Pretty nice from Jacob Fugger there. I'm up to 8 envoys. I'm saving them for the next era. Maybe get some Susan trees, hit some Golden Age score. Pop down a settler. Boom. Still have my stuff going. Granary Monument. Get that going. Generally, I'm feeling pretty strong about my position in the game. Let's go ahead and grab Reform the Coinage. That's a nice boost of passive era score just from all the trade routes that I have. That'll probably be like in the order of like 12 era score this era. Harbor completed in here. Let's go ahead and get a lighthouse going. Now, where do these builders need to go? Chalco could use a couple build charges, as could Texcapan. So I'm going to go ahead and send a builder over there. Pop down another city right here. Now, these ones are on the same continent, so they're not going to get the benefit. Also, did I totally forget to plug in? Yeah, I totally forgot to plug in colonial taxes. Although, to be fair, it's not giving me too much value, but it will in the long term as these cities come online. I just completely forgot that it exists. I had a moment there where my brain just deactivated. It happens sometimes. You forget what you were planning, and that's a part of Civ. Like it's okay to not play optimally. You're going to make mistakes and just kind of like because all I did to get good at the game, like there was no guides for the game. All I did was play the game. I played through until I finished the game, and then I realized, oh, I made a mistake there, and then that was like a trigger for me to be like, okay, I need to remember that. I need to remember that I don't do that again. And if you just do that process iteratively, you will be fine and you will get good at the game. So I kind of need to build this military academy. So I'll go ahead and get that training right now. Completed your civilizations first, a theater square with a static adjacency of 3, culture or higher. Lovely. Picking up that era score. Now, speaking of era score, let's go ahead and spend some of these envoys. I'm going to go ahead and take Suzerainty of Brussels. I'm going to take Suzerainty of Cardiff. I will grab Suzerainty of Lahore. It'll give me something to spend my faith on. Boom, boom, boom. That will give me a huge amount of era score right now, taking those Suzes. I will keep a few. Actually, I need to grab Suleiman back, or Kumasi back from Suleiman. Suleiman had taken that. So that was why my culture was so bad. This is why you have to keep checking the city-state screen, because people will fight you for these city-states. And Kumasi was stolen from me. And I was wondering why it was taking me so long to research nationalism and mobilization. So my goal is to get to mobilization here. I'm 4 techs away from it, so I do need to get score up. If I could get a 15 pop city, that would be nice. And if I could get if I could get 3 cores, if I get 15 pop city and 2 field cannons, do I have field cannon tech? I'm about to get field cannon tech. So if I upgrade 2 crossbows to field cannons, that will boost one of these. So I'm trying to think about how I efficiently get to armies. And I think it's going to involve me using a builder on this cattle here to chop this city's population up slightly. This cattle tile just isn't good enough now, and I can just like get rid of it. Looks like Angkor Wat was stolen. Let's just go ahead and build a Ruhr Valley then, I guess. It's a 14-turn Ruhr. It's a really bad city for Ruhr, but here's the thing. Even if you don't really have a whole lot of mines in a city with Ruhr Valley, it still gives you a 20% production bonus, and this is the best city for me to build it in. Yeah, I lose a quarry. I lose a little bit of adjacency on this, but like, who cares? I'm getting Ruhr Valley in 15 turns, you know what I mean? Okay, encampment done. Let's get our barracks. We want to get our armory and military academies up. We're preparing for war. Mobilization has been declared. I do want this zoo, because it's a ton of amenities. That'll help fight back against war weariness. My economy here feels very, very strong. And by economy here, I mean gold income. Gold income is one of the most important yields for a war because it allows you to efficiently build a timing attack. And I'll go over the finer points of a timing attack probably in the next episode. There's field cannons, so we're going to go ahead and come on over here and upgrade. Now remember, these crossbowmen have been incredibly useful this game because these 3 archers we built, they gave us the boost for upgrading crossbowmen. And then these crossbowmen, now, when I upgrade them, they're going to give me the boost for Scorched Earth. So like the amount of economic and military power that I've gotten from these units is quite high. I would prefer to have the cheaper unit upgrading card plugged in though, so I don't need to do this immediately, but it is an option now. I need to start thinking about pre-builds, but I'll probably get my pre-builds going soon. Once I have my military academies up and a great engineer or great general secured. Actually, thinking about it, now is a good time to start pre-building. Yeah, I'm going to start my pre-building of cuirassiers. Any city that I think has the production to help. 20 turns isn't enough. I need like 10 turns on these cuirassiers. There's one. I can delay the zoo for some pre-builds. And what I'm trying to do here is to use up all my iron. Although I'm getting 18 iron per turn. Oh my God. I need to sell some iron. Can I give some iron away as a gift? I'm making way too much iron per turn. It's a bit of a problem for me, actually. So my pre-builds are going to be weak. I'll explain. I guess what I'll do is I'll call this the end of the episode and I'll go over what pre-building is next episode. I love you all very much and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.